welcome to the Smart Publishing Impact Series. I'm Renee Loudermilk, Chief Editor at Smart Publishing, and this is the podcast where we explore all things writing, publishing, and the impact of storytelling. In each episode, I'll share insights and strategies to help you navigate the book journey, whether you're writing, publishing, or already an author. Plus, you'll hear from inspiring authors who are using their book to change lives. And if you're passionate about storytelling and ready to make an impact, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review. Now let's get started. All right, welcome to another episode of the Smart Publishing Impact Series. I am your host, Renee Loudermilk, and I am also Chief Editor over at Smart Publishing. And today is episode, I just titled it up here, 26. It's not 26, it's episode 36. And it is titled, oh gosh, I just sent that to my executive assistant too. She's gonna be like, 26? You did 26 a long time ago. Episode 36, Author Posture, Life After Your Book Release. So of course, we're all about book releases over here at Smart Publishing because that's what we do. We help people write and publish and release their books. And we actually just had another awesome one yesterday. We had a Canadian author, Dawn Nosthall, outside of I think it's the Ottawa area, release her memoir, and she had a category sweep. Which what's category sweep? I kind of think that Jonathan and I just founded that term. I don't know if anybody else uses it, but we use that term. Amazon allows you up to 3 book categories to be listed on your product details. And so we call it a sweep when you hit #1 bestseller in every single one of your categories. So she did that. She did an excellent job. Such a deserving author too. Her book is called Unbroken, a true story of survival when hope is all you have. It's just absolutely amazing. Story that she recounts in there about everything that she went through in her childhood and even into adulthood, and how if anybody has pulled themselves up by their bootstraps, it's her. No help along the way. She ended up coming out a college graduate, put herself through college, started a professional career in social work, and had 2 wonderful and lovely daughters, that she has great relationships with, breaking the cycle of abuse. She's a childhood abuse survivor of where she came from. So big plug for that one. If you did not get that yesterday, go check it out on Amazon and definitely get it. But that's a great segue, because now, she, like many authors, are coming out on the other side of the book release. And if you've ever published a book, you know that there's all this energy and momentum as you're writing your book, and then you get into the publishing activity steps where you're getting your cover designed and you're getting your interior formatting done, and you're getting all the things that you need in order to launch your book. And then the most exciting part is you're building up to launch, and you're building awareness, and you're getting commitment from people to buy your book on launch, especially if you're trying to hit bestseller. And then you launch and the book is out, and you get some reviews that come in, and best case scenario, like Dawn, you hit a category sweep and hit bestseller in all of your categories. And then what comes after that? That's what this episode is all about today. So I called it author posture. I was going to call it the posture of an author, but I condensed it down because I'm an editor. So that's what I do. But what am I talking about when I talk about author posture? So, one of the things that Jonathan and I coach people through all the time is imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is huge. It's everywhere. I've done an episode about it. So definitely go back if you want to check out that episode and find the episode that I did on imposter syndrome that is specific to how it shows up in authoring books because it has some very unique ways that it presents itself. But we coach a lot of people through um, this feeling of inadequacy, this feeling of, you know, irrelevance, not being a person who matters, not being a person who has anything important to say. It's kind of this same cycle of nobody's gonna get my book, nobody's gonna read my book, nobody's gonna like my book, or I'm not even good enough to write a book. So and it's wild. You'll hear this from people who are absolute experts in what it is that they're writing about. They have extremely compelling stories and experiences to share with people, yet they still feel that way. And this is something that, if it goes unchecked, will bleed into the post release period. So that means you've released your book, you've gotten it out. If you cannot flip the script in how you see yourself and become a self promoter, that's the author posture you need. You need to be a self promoter. And I'm not talking about in an egotistical way, I'm talking about in a mission and purpose driven way. Then it's just going to be crickets after you launch your book, and you're never going to end up doing anything with it, and it's going to sit on Amazon with, maybe, I think the average is around 250 to 300 total sales for the life of, the average self-published book, which is really sad that, that's the amount of readers that it has for its entire existence. um, but that's it's going to have 2 ratings. It's just going to sit there. And so getting your book released is half the battle. Once you have it on release day, it's like you've birthed this thing out of you. Well, now you have this little baby, your little baby book, your little child, and you have to raise it and nurture it and parent it on a daily basis. And so that's how you have to think about the process of becoming an author. When you launch, you're not done. You're just getting started. Like, the pregnancy's over now. Now you got a kid, and now the real work starts. Any of those of you who are moms out there understand, like, you thought pregnancy was all this work until you had the baby, and then it's like, oh wow, like, that's when your life really changes. And so that's how you have to think about becoming an author. Once your book is out there, that's when the real work starts. And the most successful authors I see are people who are self promoters. And again, it's not in an egotistical way. And so if you suffer from excess humility, you got to get past that. It is in a purpose and a mission driven way. These are people who are talking about their book consistently, not all the time, not every single post, but they are really encompassing the brand of their book and how they show up on social media. And so even if they're not directly talking about their book, they're talking about subject matter that's covered by their book. They're talking about something that is in alignment with that. They're trying to get on podcasts. They are maybe signed up for HARO, which stands for Help a Reporter Out, HARO. Google search it. If you're an author and you're not signed up on HARO, do it now. That is where journalists and other content creators will look to find experts that they can interview or have quoted in articles and content. And so that's a really great way to build your SEO, which just stands for search engine optimization, which means the amount of credible content that comes up when somebody searches your name or your book name. So, they're out there every day looking at the HARO hits to see if there's any kind of queries that they want to pitch for, that they can hopefully get picked up for. Um, they are looking for opportunities all the time, whether it is an opportunity to, show up at an event and do a book signing, whether it's an opportunity to get their book into their local library system, whether it's an opportunity to, I even saw somebody who was getting their book in bookstores of the different airports they traveled throughout the United States. They're always on the lookout for opportunities to get their book out there, because if you've written something that you truly think is an important topic, your duty now as an author is to get it in front of as many people as possible. So that is something that you have to constantly be thinking about once your book is published. Again, you're consistent in your theming and your branding on social media. You're looking for media based opportunities, speaking gigs. Some of our authors even go on to get signed to speaking agencies as well, so you might look at something like that. Like I said, podcasts are a little bit easier. You don't necessarily have to be part of a speaking agency to get on those, although there are quite a few speaking agencies out there that will help you get on those, as well as platforms like Podmatch. So you can go check that out. Just search Podmatch in Google and that will come up. Basically, it is what it sounds like. It's like a matchmaking platform for podcast hosts and podcast guests. So a great way to get on, in front of more audiences. And then even if you have something that's maybe a little bit more of a literary work, so it's not necessarily nonfiction, or maybe it's very hardcore memoir, start looking into things like BookBub, or start looking into different contests and places where you could submit your book. These are all just different ideas of how you can continue getting out there. Another thing that is quite the battle and an ongoing process is getting reviews for your book. It's not easy. It's something that you have to commit to. And there's a lot of different ways to do it. You can give out free or discount copies of your book to people in exchange for, honest reviews. Or you can follow up with every single person who bought your book and read your book, and ask them to please go and review it. There are other things that you can do. You can like add a page on, or add a QR code on your conclusion page in your book that sends people straight to review the book. So there's a lot of different strategies there as well. But the more reviews, the reason that's important in getting your book in front of more people is as your review count builds up, Amazon wants to show your book in search results a little bit more, because they're trying to sell stuff. And when something has a high rating mixed with a lot of reviews, it tells Amazon, oh, a lot of people really like this, so it's more likely to sell to more people. So that's sort of a little algorithm hack there. Not 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 completely hacking the process though, because it is hard to get a lot of genuine reviews. It's just something that you have to keep doing. And we at Smart Publishing actually have a really cool solution coming out very soon for that. Listen more for our Dollar Book Club program that's going to be coming out. We're really excited about that. So that's going to be really, really cool. We're going to get our authors more readers, more exposure, and more reviews through that process. And if you're just somebody who loves reading, we're going to get you more books, more really awesome books, the best books you haven't heard of yet, for $1 a month. 2 books every month. So it's going to be really cool. Yeah. So, this, I won't drag this episode out, because I think it's just pretty straight to the point. It's really just a mindset shift, and an awareness that, once your book is out there, there's so many other books out there. It's not going to go viral on its own. It's something that you have to, always be working at. It is a tool for what it is that you're trying to do, and whatever your mission or your purpose is. And whenever you find yourself, getting hit with, overt humility and not wanting to be a self promoter, remind yourself who you wrote the book for and how you intended it to positively impact them. And keep that in mind. That's what you're working for. You're not necessarily working to promote yourself. You're working to promote a work that can help other people genuinely, and whatever it is. We publish everything from books about the home buying process, all the way to personal memoirs with very impactful stories that can help to inspire and motivate other people. So they all have um, an ability to really greatly impact and help people, and really have a positive imprint on the lives of the readers that are fortunate enough to get a hold of the book and read through it. So that's everything that I have for today. So just to summarize, everything leading up to the book release. Before I started recording this, I'd never thought of that analogy before. I'd never thought of that metaphor before, but it's actually a really great metaphor. The writing process, the pre-publishing process, all of that is the pregnancy. The book release day is you've gone into labor, you're giving birth, and then after that, the real work starts, because that's when you have a living, breathing child, AKA your book. And so, if you want to be a great parent to your book, you have to really promote that book, and you have to be on the lookout for opportunities, everywhere you can find them. Set aside part of your day, part of your week, just to work on opportunities to promote your book. It's going to take, time, intentional time to be able to do that. So just like you set aside an hour a week to write your book, set aside an hour a week to really get strategic on how you're promoting your book too. Okay, so if you don't already follow me on Facebook, I am on Facebook. That's really, the only social media where I am active. Just search Renee Loudermilk. I'm the only one in the world, so I'm the only one who should pull up. I would love to connect with you on there. If you have any questions about anything ever, don't be shy. Shoot me a DM. I am a teacher at heart, so I absolutely love connecting with people, working through their questions, or even if it's issues that they're dealing with, and helping you out that way. You can also find me on smartpublishingservices.com. And if you don't already subscribe to this show, do me a favor real quick, just hit that subscribe button so you can get all the upcoming episodes, and maybe look back through the episodes too and see if there are any previous episodes I've done that would be of value to you for whatever stage of writing, publishing, or promoting your book that you're in. And then, if you would so do me the honor, I would so be appreciative and honored if you would take 60 seconds to rate and review this podcast. Like I said, the same thing about books is the same about podcast, helps get this in front of more people who can benefit from the content. And if you know somebody who could benefit from this content as well, I would love if you would shoot a share on over to them. So thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. And like I say every single time, keep writing your story, because the world needs your voice.